Welcome to this tonight's live. I told you all that I had a special guest um, tonight, and here is my special guest, Miss Kathy Hodge, also known as Mom to me. So welcome you all. We're going to give you all some time to come in before we dive into what we have to dive into tonight. But once again, my special guest is Miss Kathy Hodge, and you know her. You all know her as Miss Kathy Hodge. I know her as Mom. Glad to have her on the live with me today. Once again, I'm going to give you all some more time to come in. Miss Hodge, how was your day?
My day went well today. I
That's
can't
good.
complain.
That's good. That's good. Did you do any running with the kids today?
No, I didn't run today.
Oh, Jesus. So you don't run everywhere. You don't run every day. You just run some days.
Some days when I feel like it.
Okay, people are coming in. People are going to come in. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So the first question that I have for you is, what made you go into education?
Well, I started out at a young age, taking care of my brothers and my sisters. And then back in my hometown, Mullen, South Carolina, they had a program called the JTPA program. So at the age of 12 or 13, you could actually work. So I started out at Troy Johnson's Learning Center under the direction of Miss Leah and Miss Starlene. And from that point, I just love education, working with kids, and it inspired me to just make that my career.
That's good. That's good. That's good. So when you got that inspiration and inspired you to do it, um, what is your motto or your philosophy as it pertains to education?
My motto is one that I really love. Each one teach one, and in order to teach one, you must reach one. And I really feel adamant about that because you can't teach someone or a child unless you reach that child.
And reaching a child, do you believe that it is more than one way to reach a child?
I feel that it is, but you have to do what's best for that child. And every child is different.
Okay.
Um, in reaching you, it may be a little different than reaching someone else. So I have to build that rapport to find out how I am going to reach you.
Mhm. So I know that you taught pre-K. When you taught pre-K, what are some things that you look for kids to know already walking in the door of your classroom?
Walking into the classroom, being able to pick out their name, write different letters, and it doesn't have to be correct, but as long as they understand that it can be an upside down E, but I know that's an E.
Hmm.
So just the basics and the fundamentals that they need coming from a 3-year-old classroom.
Okay. Okay. So in the event that you did not have someone that did not know their name, what did you do to teach it? What are some activities that you did to help them get to know their name?
I had sentence strips, and when a child entered into the classroom, they went to wash their hands, and I had paper out and pencils for them to write. So they had to go to the basket and pick out their name. And a lot of times, during circle time or group time, we would learn the alphabets. And if Johnny name starts with a J, in order to go to a center, you had to start picking out letters in your name in order to go to that center.
Hmm. Yeah, that is something that I do also. And then periodically throughout the day, I'll just ask, "Hey, what does your name start with?" Because there are some kids who aren't able to spell their complete name yet, so therefore I have to take it letter by letter for them to
Exactly.
how to spell their name. Yeah, it's definitely a good thing to watch. Um, as now we want to talk about you personally. What are some things that you wanted to instill in us, me meaning me and my brother, while you were raising us?
Well, first of all, I wanted to instill respect because I felt that respect would get you further in some cases than education. So I taught you all respect and to be respectable. Then I went on into the educational piece. During the summers, as you can remember, you all didn't get to go outside and play until you learned those 50 states and the capitals. And I knew that you needed your education as being young Black men today.
Okay. Now you said that we didn't get to go outside. Do you think that that is a good benefit for parents? I guess my question to you is, um, why did you think that was so important? Besides being a Black male and that we needed education, why did you think that it was important to um, let us? I don't want to use the word miss that area, but I will use it in order to make sure that we knew our academics. Why was that so important to you?
Because I didn't rely on the teachers, because the teachers can't teach you everything. It starts at home. And I wanted to be involved with my kids' education. And that meant a lot to me, to be involved with you all's education and make sure that you was getting the best possible chance that you could have. So that was very dear to me.
So if you have, let's just say, because you've been in it for years. How many years has it been for you?
Right at 20.
So you've been in it for 20 years. You've raised children. You've taught children. What are some tips that you would give a parent that is struggling with a problem child that they feel like don't want to focus in education, and tips overall for parenting? What would you say to those persons?
First, I would say be involved in your child's education.
Mhm.
Find out their learning techniques. Every child doesn't learn the same. And for example, with you, a lot of times, you love music. So what I had to do, we sung a lot of things. You got to find out what works best for your child.
And that comes with being an active parent. I've said that all the time on my live that people, you have to be an active parent, and and she's not saying anything as she's making it up as she goes. It's the truth. When we were young, she made sure that we got our academics above anything. We had to get our academics, and I remember that summer like it was yesterday. We had to learn all 50 states and the capitals, and not only did we have to learn it, we had a test on it. And it wasn't the point of, she did not say, oftentimes I hear people say, oh, my child is this or my child is that, and they use that as a crutch, thinking that their child can't do this or their child can't do that. But what I can say about my mom is that she got the tools. If she felt that we could not do it, she found tools to aid us in doing it. She did not use it as an excuse. And that goes to my question. What another question that I have for you. You did it. And when I say you did it, I mean you went to school. They don't know that you went to school while raising us. You worked a job. You were married at one point in time. You did all of this. How did you manage doing all of that and still remaining Kathy? How did you do that?
By the grace of God. I have to put God first. And also, it was a struggle. I'm not going to sit and say that it wasn't hard, because I was a parent, I was a student, I was a foster parent as well. And I also ran my childcare center 3 shifts. So I had to learn how to use my time wisely. And I wanted it so bad. I was hungry for the education to become a teacher. And you have to be hungry for it. If you're not hungry for it and have that passion for it, then you won't do it. And I had the passion.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So when it comes down to that, tell me some things that you enjoyed about owning a childcare center. How was that experience for you?
It gave me the experience to become a director now in someone else's facility. I had the opportunity to meet different parents. And while going to school, I had the opportunity to share with them what I was learning at that time. Um, it's just a lot that goes on that you want to automatically get out there and do,
Hmm.
but it takes, and going out into the community, marketing my business, it just taught me a lot.
Hmm. Um, is that something that you see yourself doing again in the future?
Owning my own center,
Hmm.
I think now I want to pass the torch on to you. I want to see you get out there and own your own center, school, or whatever it may be. And if I can support you in any way, I will. Um, But as far as me going out on it now, I thought about, reaching out and trying to start my own Head Start Center. And who knows? I may. I'm still young.
Mhm. That is her motto. She believes that. She believes she is still young. And
Oh, believe I am.
we're gonna give her that. Amen. We're gonna give her that. We're gonna give her that. So I have a question. When it comes down to directing the center, you say that you are the director. What are some things that you believe in implementing in your center, as far as teachers, as far as parents? What are things that you do in your center?
I'm going to start off with the parents. Um, I love parent involvement, and I do things that incorporate the parents to be active in the center. With the children, oh, excuse me, with the teachers, I feel that we have to understand that in order for a teacher to be successful, she must have the tools as well to be successful.
Mhm.
Um, just like today, I had 2 interviews, and you have to want to be a teacher, and you have to have it here, not only here, but here. Um, so sometimes people step into the teaching field just for a check or just to say I have a job. And I want a teacher that really care about the student's education. And that means a lot. If you have a teacher that's just there, what can she teach the child?
Mhm.
So when I was doing the interview today, I had to think about that. I had to put myself in the place as, hey, I'm not the director now. I'm stepping out of the director role. I want a teacher in my school that feel as adamant about teaching our young children as I do. And it really counts. It really means a lot to make sure that you have teachers that are educated and equipped with the things that they need to do to teach someone else.
Now, I agree with you because, like you, I've been on both sides of it. And you all, let me take a moment to pause and say this. You all are really looking at my inspiration. Like any mother, like any parent. First of all, let's understand that parent does not come with a handbook. In most cases, like we do in life, we learn as we go, right? We're learning as we go. But you all are looking at my inspiration from working with her in her own child care center at a young age to going to college, doing this, that, and the third. And my mom can tell you that I've always been the person to try to put my best foot forward. I've always tried to be the person to succeed. And in most cases, I've done okay. I've done okay with that. But that is my inspiration because I know that I've seen my mom work. I've seen my mom take, when I tell you she is an entrepreneur at heart, she is the person that she isn't the person that she is going to survive by any means necessary. And I really I've seen her at her lowest and I've seen her at her highest. And it's just she continues to keep going. She continues to keep going. And I remember when I had a special guest on before, and it was Miss Keena, and she said, "I don't try to make lemonade. I say when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade." She said, "I don't try to make lemonade." She said, "I try to make a strawberry drink." She said, "Because I know that I have to make it. I have to figure out how to do the impossible with what I have." And that's what I can really say about my mom is that she always did what she had to do. And from with me saying that, I say that because my life and my company as a whole is really geared to get parents to understand that your child or children are watching you. And it's the thing that you have to understand that even though you think they don't remember it, that's not true. They remember it. They remember everything. It's just like when you learned your ABCs when you were 2. Guess what? Now that you're 52, you still know your ABCs. You remember those things. You remember what was taught to you. You remember what you see. You remember what made an impact on you. You remember those things. So therefore, we have to make a lasting impact, but a good lasting impact. So that's why I was driving today and I was like, I want to go live with my mom because I've always referenced my mom. I'm always talking about my mom in my life. So I wanted to get you all have afford you all the opportunity to see her in her element. So back to the teachers. I know that you said that we need to have teachers that are educated, teachers that are passionate, but to step out of the director role and out of the teacher role, you also have to have an employer who's willing to pay those teachers.
True.
I think, and this is me, I think the problem is that centers want great, but they don't want to pay great. And I think that's the holdup that we have. Because although we say that it's not about the money, and I agree, it's not about the money. I get that, but we still have to live.
Understandable, understandable, and I get what you're saying. But being that everybody know in the education field, you're not going to become a millionaire overnight, you
Absolutely.
know. And as being a dedicated teacher, it goes beyond the pay, because sometimes teachers have to go into their own pockets in order to educate a child or get things that child needs to make their classroom flow. So
Mhm.
when I think about that, that goes back to when I said that teaching comes from your heart,
Mhm.
because you're giving, you're always giving, you know. And like I said, no, you can't pay a teacher for everything that they're worth. You know, you can never pay anybody for what they're actually worth. But just think about the outcome. You may have little Johnny that his parents might not be involved in it, but he looks to that teacher as a mom, as that first person that teaches him how to tie his shoes. That means a lot. And I'm gonna say for me, for me, you can't pay me enough to teach a child. I get that from seeing that child grow and explore in life and become successful, productive children. That's my pay.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And Miss Ford, Miss Ford. Well, her name is Miss Latanya Yates. She's saying it on in the comments. She says that teachers are servants, and you know, when she says that, oftentimes when you have a servant doesn't get a servant doesn't get his reward until the end.
The end.
Most servants don't see the reward until the end. And I think, and when she says that, I think our reward is seeing that child growing up and becoming something great. And I also want to say this. I want to point this out to parents, children, whoever may view this live. Understand that going to college is great. Becoming a dentist is great. Becoming a doctor is phenomenal. But I say, whatever you're going to be, you be the best at it. If you end up being a fry cook, you be the best fry cook has ever seen. You be the best at whatever it is in life that you are at. Oftentimes, we instill in people that, oh, you got it. When you grow up, you need to be a lawyer. Oh, when you grow up, you need to be a doctor. But the truth of the matter is that if we didn't have mechanics, how would we get our oil changed? If we didn't have fry cooks, who would fix our burgers when we go through the drive-through, right? So we have to be, and we have to understand that although that is a great thing to be, although those things make you money, they do the that and third, wherever you find your place, wherever you find yourself at in life, embrace it and make it work. Make it work for you. There are millionaires who have never ever went to college. Why? Because they made it work. Whatever they were in, whatever they found themselves in, and they liked it, they perfected it, or they strive for perfection, and they make it work for them. So that is something that I really want us as people to start understanding. Like Ms. Jake said, she said, yes, every job is important and necessary. Every job, every job. Every job is important and necessary. So when you hear that, my question for you is, I was talking with some teachers and they asked me a question. They said, "What are some tips you have for dealing with difficult children?"
First of all, like I said, you want to build a rapport with that child. And in building that rapport, you're still going to come into difficulties. But you have to find out the triggers for that child. That's where teaching comes in place. It's not all about educating the child, but you have to educate the whole child holistically. So you will have to find out the triggers. What can I do when before this child starts acting out? What is it that I can do? And relationships, you have to understand that child. A lot of people probably would have said that I was a problem child. I love to talk. and I talk in my classrooms. But why did I talk in the classroom? Why am I acting out? Am I bored? Are you on a high enough level for me? If I'm finishing my work before everybody else in the classroom, what am I going to do? I'm going to act out. I'm going to reach over there to my friend and I want to talk because what? I've already mastered what you're teaching me. So you have to understand your students. And that's comes from building that rapport with them. And I'm reminded of a time when you was in that situation. You know, I remember the teacher calling home, calling me or sending notes home. He loves to talk in class. And the first thing came to my mind was, oh, TJ's just bad. No, you were not bad. You had outgrown what they were teaching you. They needed to give you something else. And I think if you build that rapport and build those relationships with the children, you'll be able to tell, okay, Tahim's already mastered this. I need to give him something a little harder to do. Those are great teachers.
Yes, Miss Yates said, find their strengths and use it to your advantage. Use it to your advantage, and that's absolutely true. Let me tell you, I was sitting down with an autistic child. I think it may have been a week or two ago now, and prior to me sitting there, I got the, you know, they give you a rundown about children before you go in there, and I got the rundown that, oh, she goes off, she don't want to pay attention sometimes, but I sat back and I observed her before I sat back and I observed her, and what I saw was that she loved blocks. And the thing was, even though she was in the block area, it's not that she wasn't listening, because she was listening. She was listening, and she was saying it quietly under, you know, to herself, but she was listening. So when I got the child and I put her out of the classroom to work with her one-on-one, you know what I immediately went and grabbed? Blocks. Because I knew that would get her attention. I knew that I could teach her through those blocks. I knew that I could get her to respond through those blocks. And I think that's the thing, the area that we struggle with children. We're so busy trying to make them the perfect child, so busy trying to make them sit down, so busy trying to make them do this, that, and the third, that we miss who they are. Understand that children are just little adults, right? They have a personality, they have feelings, they have emotions. And the thing is, although we know how to channel those because we're an adult, they're kids. They don't know how to channel those emotions. We have to teach them. So Ms. Yates said it correctly. If you see that this child is spoiled or they want all the attention, well, guess what? At some point in time in the lesson, you need to give them a chance to talk. Because back to your motto, each one teach one. In order to teach one, you have to reach that person. So if you reach that child and have her teaching it, then therefore you've gained her. You've gained her. And oftentimes when you do that, when you don't do that, they do act out. And we're quick to label them as a problem child, when the truth of the matter, that isn't correct. That isn't correct. In most cases, they're just bored. So what are you going to do as a teacher to go beyond that? What are you going to do to go beyond that? My question for you, my another question is, we're talking about teachers, but what do you do for your director-teacher relationship? I'm sorry, director-parent relationship in the childcare world. How do you do that?
A lot of times I'm not always in the classroom. So if there is a problem, you know, me and the teacher, we sit down and we try to work it out. When it goes to advance from that, then I build my rapport with my parents as well. And you have to do that because you have to have it where you can approach this parent in a manner when there's something that's not right, when their child is acting out, you know, even when they're not acting out. That's when you're building a rapport. Oh, little Johnny was so good today in class. I gave him a sticker. We having a little party based upon this. Then when you go to that parent with that concern, little Johnny is acting out, they'll be more receptive.
Mm-hmm.
The key of the matter is to build those relationships, not only with the children, but with the parents as well. Because sometimes parents just don't know, because children act different in the presence of their parents. And then when they leave their parents, they act another way. So you have to build that rapport with the parents as well.
Okay. I agree 200%. I agree. It's definitely a relationship. And the thing is about it, we say it all the time when we talk about personal relationships, but the relationship between a parent and a teacher, a director and a teacher, the key is communication, right? that is the key. You have to communicate. In any relationship, you have to communicate. But the thing is, you also have to make sure that it's effective communication. And our world, when it comes down to education, effective communication is being consistent with your communication. Why do you say that, Mr. Carr? Because if you are telling me one day or 1 week you're keeping in contact with me, you're telling me X, Y, and Z, then I don't hear from you again for 2 weeks. Guess what? Now I'm wondering, well, why did you start it? Why did you even do this, that, and the third? And then the next time I probably won't hear from you until the child is misbehaving again. So keep me informed. Keep that communication going. Keep it. Let's stay on this same page. And I will never forget, I was interviewing for a job one time, and we were talking about communication, and she asked me about it, and she said, well, I think the key to it is just to over communicate. That way you know that they got it. You know that you're trying. You know you did this, that, and the third. And I agree. I happen to agree with that. As a parent for you, how do you feel about children nowadays?
Nowadays, it's a little different. You know, children, they're a lot wiser. And children are being brought into this world by younger kids at this day and age. But they're all teachable. You know, we can all have those teachable moments. And it's not so much the disruptive behaviors, or I'm gonna say, as people will say, bad children. They're misunderstood. I think a lot of times the children are really misunderstood because you never know what a child is going through at home that causes them to act a certain way. And we have to have empathy, sympathy when it comes to these children. Right now, I'm in a Head Start program. I'm a director of a Head Start program. And when I see these children come in, I give them the hug. When, you know, now with COVID, we have to do the little arm or whatever, but sometimes I still hug them because they need that. They need that. And when they see me the first thing, hey, Miss Hodge, coming off the bus, there go Miss Hodge, there go Miss Hodge. You have to show them love because sometimes they're not even getting that at home, you know. And then when I see my parents, I don't hug them, but I give them that love as well to let them know I'm here for you as well. We have resources that we can help you as well. So you have to be open-minded when it comes to children and the parents.
I agree. I agree. There are some people on now live, like for example, Miss Tamara Boyd, and people ask me all the time, and what do I think my strong thing is in childcare? And I tell them, I say, I think my strongest thing that I have is I can build great parent relationships, direct their parent relationship, because when they come in the building, I'm speaking. When they leave, and I'm already a noticing person, so I notice everything. So if they change their hair, if mom changed her hair, I'm saying, "Oh, mom, you changed your hair. That's a new hairstyle," and they like it. Dad comes in, Dad, you got a haircut. Elijah, Dad took you to get a haircut with him. Those type of things where you're making it like a family, right? When they come in, they really feel like they belong here. Because the thing is, out in childcare, these people in most cases are paying money. Nobody wants to pay money to come to a place where they feel like they don't belong. So exactly. You have to create that warm and welcoming environment. This person should feel like a guest and not a visitor. Well, what's the difference, Mr. Clark? A visitor is somebody that just pops up on you. You know what I'm saying? You not even prepared. They just pop up on you. A guest is somebody that you're prepared for. You're prepared for this person. You got their bed ready. You got their sheets ready. You got everything ready for them. When someone walks into your child care center or whatever it may be, they should feel like a guest. They should feel welcome. That's what makes them leave. And oftentimes when they're doing a tour, they'll tell you, I just like the feeling. They can't tell you that. They just feel so good to me. It feels right to me. And that's what we have to strive to provide when we're in childcare. Let me ask you, what are some things that when you see it, as far as directors, like if you see another director at her center, his or her center, and you observe them, what are some things that really make you just make that face like, I wish I could change that.
When I see directors that just sit behind their desk all the time, then there's no hands-on with the teachers, no communication with the parents. For instance, I'm gonna give you a rundown of the day in Miss Hodge's life. When I get there in the morning, sometimes I try to my staff there. Reason being because I want to make sure the building is clean, it's ready for the staff as well as the students. I'm standing outside when that bus comes, greeting the children and greeting the parents. Just today, a parent came in. She was at the door, and one of my teachers opened the door for me. And she said, no, she said, can I help you? And I was actually coming up the hall. She said, no, no, no. I want to talk to her. That's her right there. Because I made an impact on her. And I felt good about it that she came just to thank me, for the way I ran things at that school and the things that she saw in her child. And that was my pay. I had a parent that came and she said, you run this school? You over this school? I said, yes. She said, you don't play. I said, why do you say that? I said, it's not that I don't play. I carry my school the way that if it was my children in here, that's how I treat my school, But I'm in and out of the classrooms. Some days I take over my teachers' classrooms because they need that coachable moment. If I see that they're having a little classroom management issues, it's not for me just to write them up all the time because they can't manage a classroom. How can I write you up when I haven't given you the tools to be successful? So I go in my classroom, I'm cleaning out the classroom, role modeling, having coachable moments. I'm on the playground, telling them, hey, just because you're a teacher, it doesn't mean that you can't get out here and have fun with your children. And they look at me, Miss Hodge, I can't believe you did that. Yes, you can. Because I was a parent, I was a teacher, and now I'm a director. So I had a taste of all three. And now I can take all three of those and utilize it to make my center and my staff and students successful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is something that is like a thorn in my flesh to see to see uh to see teachers or directors, I'm sorry, just behind the desk. It is always behind the desk. It is a thorn in my flesh. And the thing is, you're behind the desk, but your center is crumbling. Like it doesn't even add up. It doesn't add up. Especially when you see that you have teachers that aren't doing what they're supposed to do. Even if, let's just not even say what they're supposed to do. They're not doing what you would like for them to do because you're the director. So they're not meeting your standards. It amazes me that even though they see that, and I've been to multiple centers. I've even when I go into interview or whatever, they see that, but they're still behind the desk. And they'll say, "Oh, I just need new teachers." No, 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 no. Because see, if you get new teachers, that means that same teacher that you bring in is going to do the same exact thing. We're only as good as our leader. Exactly. However you lead, you set the tone that this is how I want you to follow me. Right? If I tell you that when I come in every day, my shoes are going to be tied when I walk through the door. When they walk through the door, you know what they're going to start doing? They're going to start tying their shoes because we only are as good as our leaders. You have to lead with passion. You have to lead as if it's your center. And I think that's the problem. Oftentimes, directors sit back and they say, well, this ain't my business. First of all, that's not even how you get elevated. That's not in the eyes of God. Because the Bible says, he tells us that we have to be faithful over a few things, right? So that he can make us ruler over many. So we can and say that this is not my center. So I'm just gonna, I'll let the owners have it, or I'll do this, that, and the third. That's not the mindset that you have to have. Because the truth of the matter is that one day, preferably, you will be the owner. And you want to want that director to act as if that was their center. Take care of your center as if it is their baby. Right? So you have to do that. And I think that most directors forget about that. I think they forget about that. And I don't think they really, one thing that I like about Angela Bassett If you ever watch Angela Bassett has she acts and she has some of the most important roles there are when it comes to women. Things like Tina Turner, things like Michael Jackson's mom. She has some of the most important roles that you could see. And you want to know what I like about her is that she embodies the character. You can look at it and you'll say, wow. Is that Tina Turner or Angela Bassett? Is that, she embodies the character. She really becomes those people. And I think that's what directors have to do when they're in childcare center. You have to become the owner. You need to be the miniature owner. That's what you have to do. You have to embody them. Okay, if my owner was here, this is how they would do it. My owner likes to see this, so I have to do. You have to do that and make yourself available to things and address things. I think that's what we're missing. When because we both worked at Rainbow, and I don't know if your if your director ever shared this with you, but I want to ask you this, and you may not know, or we'll give you time. But I'm going to ask a question that my director told me that she always got asked when she went to conferences and stuff. And the question is, what is your purple cow? Let me tell you what that means. If you're riding by a cow pasture and you see a purple cow, that cow sticks out to you because it's purple. What is it that sticks out? What is your purple cow? What is Miss Hodge's purple cow? What sets Miss Hodge aside from everybody else?
My director at Rainbow, she did share that with me. And what sticks Miss Hodge out from the rest is because I care. I care dearly about what I do. I'm passionate about it. And I understand that the children are our future. And as I stated before, I've been that parent. And I know what I wanted for my children. So if I want it for my children, I'm going to want it for somebody else's child as well. So as being passionate about the child care field and loving all children, that's what sticks out, because I'm going to go above and beyond the call of duty.
Absolutely, absolutely. So my question is been ringing in my head. I just it's been ringing in my head. Why didn't you give up? Why didn't you give up? There were so many times that you could have given up. There were so many times that you should have given up. And the second part to that question is, or I'm going to say, I've never heard you say, oh, I'm a single mom. I can't, I need this, I need that. I've never ever, and if I miss it, I will admit to missing it. But I can say that I can't recall you ever saying, I'm a single mom. I got to do the. There has to be some type of force behind this that is just making you. Why didn't you quit, and why didn't you use that as a crutch?
Because I never saw my mom give up. Through it all. Oh, now that was touching. I never saw my mom give up.
Don't start crying, because I will start crying.
She was a single mom. My mom worked two jobs to take care of us. And I felt like she was my driving force. She made sure that we had. So why couldn't I pass that on into my children? She's my backbone. That's why I didn't give up, because I never saw my mother give up. And to this day, she still fights.
Yeah. You all, she's got now. I really was about to cry one time and I held it off. I did really good. I fought back the tears. I was over here and start getting emotional and stuff, and it's not gonna work now. We gotta get this stuff together. But it's true. It's true. I've never seen you do it. I've never ever seen you do it. And I'm speaking to the point where, we would get up at 3 a.m. because you had to be to the bus station to drive the bus, and this, that, and the third. I really, really saw you do what you had to do. And I think that when we grow up, when we grow up, we remember things that happen in our life and that hurt us and this, that, and the third. And those things are important. They have their place. They have their place and they have to be addressed. But I think overall, what we have to know is that parents do their best. Parents do their best. Parents do their best at what they can and what they can do. And once again, it goes back to me saying that there's no handbook. There's no handbook. There's not even a handbook to being a child. There's no handbook whatsoever. But I personally want to say, in front of all the views that this may get, is thank you. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for not using that as a crutch. Thank you for pushing me. Thank you for always knowing that. Let me tell you, and I'm just going to say this. There was a difference between my brother and me. My brother, he was the football jock. He could play football. He was good at it. I was the academics person. And I know that you were hard on me. Academics area. I know that. And you pushed me. You pushed me to do what I was supposed to do in school. You pushed me to get the good grades. And even for that, I say thank you. Because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be able to sit here, and I'm literally sitting on a live, hosting a live that over 500 people will see with my mom as a special guest. That is amazing to me. That has just won my heart out completely. And that's what I was thinking about earlier, and I didn't want to get emotional. I had to pull it back. And it's because of your push. It's because of your drive. It's because of how I saw you get up and let the cold hit your face so that we could be okay. I saw that. And like I said, once again, never using that you were a single mom for a crutch. I hate to hear that. Because what does that mean? What do you want from that? What are you going to do? Because you're a single mom, what do you want? What do you want, right? At the end of the day, you still have little people looking at you and that are modeling after you. And one thing that you taught me, whether you did it knowingly or not, was to keep going. No matter what comes, no matter what goes, keep going. And when I think about children today, that's what I see that they're missing. They don't have the respect values. They just don't have life skills, if that makes sense. They don't have life skills. And I was watching a video with MJ. I know you know MJ. And he took over, I think he's guardian of his nephew or cousin, whatever the young boy is at this point.
That's his nephew.
And he bought him this truck, this Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon. And people were telling him that, oh, you shouldn't have done that because he won't understand the struggle. And MJ's response was that, well, when I see my neighbors, when I see my counterpartners, when I see let's just say Caucasian people, we're going to be honest. He said, I see that for their children's birthdays, they buy them these expensive cars and so forth and so on. So why can't we do that? He addressed it as a poverty mindset. What do you think about that before I elaborate on that? What do you think about getting your child a G-Wagon for, let's just say, their first car?
I don't see nothing wrong with it because in getting that, you can still instill in him the value of $1. You know, I don't see anything wrong with it. Now, and I guess it depends on the person because some children will get that and feel like, well, my uncle's just going to give me this all the time or do for me or whatever. But I also feel that children should have a responsibility. They should earn certain things and not always be given. Because in this world, how much is given to us? We have to go out and we have to earn it. So once you teach that child the value of that car or money or whatever, why not? You know, that's still a teachable moment in getting that car, you know? So I kind of see both sides, but overall, if you're going to use that to teach him the value of getting that car, what I went through to get it, you're going to take care of it. You know, not just give it to him, he can just do whatever he wants. You're going to take care of it. You know, so but to each his own.
I have to agree with Derek. He said it breeds a spirit of entitlement. And although I'm kind of with you, I'm kind of on the fence about it. I believe that I think that if it was, let's just say it was you and you brought me a G Wagon for my first car. I think that watching you work for that G Wagon so that I could have it would be different as opposed to him just coming into his life. He sees him with this glamorous lifestyle. Then he goes and buy him a G Wagon. I think that taints his vision. I think that it instills in him, like he says, a spirit of entitlement. Because at the end of the day, he doesn't know how hard you have to work to get a G Wagon. He don't understand that. First, I'm a firm believer that if you can't make if you like it comes down to the little girls with weeds and stuff, if they can't buy it, they don't need to have it. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. Now a G Wagon, I'm not saying now car, fine. But a G Wagon, hey, listen to what I'm saying. A G Wagon. Me and you can afford G Wagons right now. Right now. A G Wagon. Like that's and I'm not knocking him. I mean, he did it, he can do it. Kudos to him. But I have to agree that it teaches a spirit of entitlement. I have to agree with that because I even look at little children now. That's even with children that are like the only child. They have a totally different mindset when it comes down to playing and sharing and so forth and so on. They don't understand it. They don't understand why they have to do it because they never had to. When they're home, they don't have to do that. It's theirs. So I think that's what it puts on him. And most times I get it. People just try to give their child or whoever they have guardianship over the best. Like what they didn't get, they want to give it to them, and this, that, and the third. And I get it. I really do get it. But like I say about anything, make sure that those morals and values are there. Make sure they understand the hard work that had to come from that. And and I think that is how they will fully appreciate it and take care of it when they understand it. When they understand that, they would take care of it to its full potential because I know that my mom or my uncle or whoever worked hard for this so that I can have it. But once again, that's how he feels. When we were last week, we talked about uniforms. Tell me, what do you think about uniforms?
I had this conversation, I think it was Saturday, with my friend Tanya. Uniforms versus street clothing. I'm kind of on the fence with that as well. It depends on uniforms can be costly. Clothes can be costly, but it depends on the need, how that family does it, because some people may not be able to afford a uniform as well as street clothes. So, and then she enlightened me, well, you have some parents that say they can't afford it, but they got their hair done, nails done, everything done, you know. And then it turned on a light, because that's true. It depends on the mindset of that parent. If I'm going to send my child to school and it requires uniforms, the person that I am, I'm going to go above and beyond to get that. But everybody doesn't have that mindset. So, and I remember somebody said that their child was put in ISS because they didn't have on a particular uniform or whatever. I'm going to
Can I pause
say
you? Can I pause you for a second?
yes.
Because I get what you're saying about the uniform and them having the nails done and this, that, and the third. But that doesn't speak to the child, though. That doesn't speak to the mindset of the child. That doesn't speak to the benefits of the child. That speaks of the parent. That speaks to the character of the parent.
So,
Should not be
so
punished.
no,
Go
you're
ahead.
right. You're right. The child should not be punished. But I think it starts at home, just like with the G Wagon. If this child is used to having Levi's, Jordans, and everything all the time, then and they see somebody in a uniform or not dressed like they are, it needs to be some values taught that we don't pick at our friends because they have less than you do. I think it starts at home. I don't think you should have to put a child in a uniform just so somebody else don't pick at them. That's my personal preference. Because as parents, we need to raise our children and stop being our children's friend. And that raising starts at a young age. You reel that child at 2 and 3 years old to be respectable and not pick at people, not be bullies, stuff like that. And it goes to the mindset of the parent because that child didn't come into this world knowing the difference between raggedy clothes, as we call them raggedy clothes, versus somebody with nice clothing.
Mm-hmm.
I say personally, I think it's the parenting.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the parenting because, and I understand everything that was said about the mindset, and I get it. I get it. They will. They'll say they can't afford it, but every week nails done, their hair is done. I 200% agree. I just think that that's punishing the child for parents' behavior. Um,
Yes.
but Mr. Milton there said that for some families, the cost of a G wagon is equivalent to the of a Toyota for them. And that's true. That's true. Something it is. I guess it goes all back to the morals and the values. If you can afford it, by all means, do it. But be
Let me
sure.
put a pin there. I have a question for you.
Mhm.
No, I cannot afford to get you a G Wagon. Yes, I would love for my boys to have it, but unfortunately, right now, when what age were you when I gave you my Lexus?
I was 8. I remember I was 18 because I was 17, 18 because it was my senior year of high school.
So did you feel entitled because you received that?
No, I didn't feel entitled. I didn't feel entitled. And I would give people rides. I would help people out. I didn't feel entitled. Let me tell you why though. I didn't feel entitled because I remember at 16 I got my first job and I was working. And I remember working there all day and I got off at night and I would walk home to grandma's house. I remember those things. So when it came down to a car, it was just a car. I was grateful for it. I took care of it, but it didn't bother me. It wasn't all of that to me. It's just like now when I see people in the Balenciagas and the Gucci and all this and the third, it doesn't faze me because I know what it means to work and to earn, even if it's a blouse from Ross, even if it's a Honda Accord. I know what it means to work, and I understand the value of that sweat equity. You know what I'm saying? But no, I didn't feel entitled, and I didn't rub that in anyone's face. I knew the value of that.
So that's what I say that to say. I think some parents have they like in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that young man knew the blood, sweat, and tears that went into his uncle purchasing that G Wagon, I don't see anything wrong with it. If it doesn't change him and or
Absolutely.
make him a bully or whatever, I don't see anything wrong with it. But when it comes to changing a person and you're going to belittle another person because you have and they don't, that's where the problem comes in at. That's why I said, and whatever age he is, he's old now. He's older now. So whatever whatever's in him is pretty much in him, you know.
Mhm.
But I think a lot of times we need to evaluate ourselves and get our priorities in the right places. I think it's nothing to the hair done, nail done, all that. It's nothing to that. Because at the end of the day, where is that going to get you? It's not going to prosper you in any way. So when I look at the children that come into my center, I don't care what they have on. I want them to be educated. I want them to understand and be respectful young men and young women, you know.
Mhm.
Um, but like I said, it first starts at home.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And Derek said that he wasn't raised with a spirit of entitlement. And I think that's just the key to it. You just have to, it's all about how you raise people. I say it all the time. We have to raise children. We have to raise children. You can give it. You can give it. It's okay to give it. There's nothing wrong with the gift. Nothing wrong with that. But understand that that's just like we didn't believe in Santa Claus. Understand that somebody had to work for this, right? Somebody had to get out and budget and do this, that, and the third so that they could give this to you. I think that's my only thing with it. Make sure they understand, make sure that that lesson is being learned when they're getting this gift. Um, do you recommend childcare?
Yes. I do because children need that social skills. They really need that because if a child never goes to childcare or preschool or anything like that, when they go to school, how are they going to know how to interact with others, especially if they're only child? So I
Mhm.
think they need that exposure. They really do. And I understand that it's costly, but we do what we want to do.
Yeah.
People do exactly what they want to do. And if you bring a child into this world, do what you need to do for that child because they didn't ask to be here. I know that and I'm not going to say that I'm a perfect parent, but it was trial and error. And I wanted my children to be successful. And we have to want that for our children. You know, um, going back to when you asked me why,
Oh, Miss Derek said costly but priceless.
yes, when you asked me the question about why I never gave up, and I said I never saw my mom give up, that's the kind of environment that I was raised in. You know, I'm thankful for my mom. I'm grateful for her. I'm grateful for the beatings and everything
Ooh.
because it made me who I am today. And to see her go through and still come out on top and raise three beautiful children, and then to go into raising someone else's children. That's awesome all by itself. And
Mhm.
she's doing it by the grace of God.
Mhm.
There first must be a willing mind.
Mhm.
It's got to be in your mind and in your heart to do. And if it's not there, you might as well hang it up. You
Mhm.
might as well hang it up. And
Absolutely.
it's never too late. It's never too late to turn the page and start a new chapter. You know, if a parent or anybody feel like, oh, well, I haven't been successful thus far, don't look at that. You might be a single parent, but God is your source.
Mhm.
And you put him first, and the rest will be added unto you. So I say to all the parents, get involved in your child's education because you have teachers out here, they don't see the parents, they will mistreat those children.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to wrap up, and I'm gonna end with this. When I first got into foster care, I got a set of children, and I went out and I bought them some clothes. The little girl used told me, she said, Miss Kathy, oh, I smell so good. I'm so thankful. Thank you, Miss Kathy. I'm pretty. I'm pretty. She came home one day and told me that I Miss Kathy, I get to sit in a circle with the rest of the children now. I said, huh? She said, yes, they wouldn't let me sit with the group because they said I smelled. She wasn't mine. But what did I do? I went to that schoolhouse And I laid it on them because you're not going to do her like that. Parents get involved because you don't know what the children go through in those schools. Every teacher is not there to educate and care for your child, but it
Mhm.
first starts with you.
Mhm. And I had that conversation with that story. I told her that most teachers aren't there to teach. Oh no, I was talking to Miss Keisha at that time. I said most teachers aren't there to teach. They're doing it because, quite frankly, if you go to school, you get a degree, you can get a job teaching. And then in childcare, it's easy to get a job in childcare. You don't even have to have any experience. If they look at you and feel like they can coach you, they'll try to put you in a room. So it's true. A lot of people aren't there because they want to teach. They aren't there because they want to provide a good foundation for children. They aren't there for that. They are there for the paycheck. And
Mm-hmm.
absolutely true. But that's when not only being a good parent comes in, because I believe that is the number one thing you have to be. But that's when you have to have good directors also that go and see how those people are responding to these children. Are they going the extra mile? Are they doing what they're supposed to do? And are they being effective altogether? Are these children really learning? I believe that when I was in the classroom, I didn't just want to teach them about in academics. I wanted them to be, and you can ask my parents to be prepared for the world, both in the schoolhouse and outside of it. That's how you prepare, and that's how you educate children. And we see it all the time. We'll say that person has a lot of book sense but no common sense. That's because nobody taught them. Nobody taught them the balance of both. Nobody did that. They just made sure that they were okay in their academics. And we have to address, as you said earlier, the child holistically. What does that mean? The whole child. The whole child. Everything that makes that child a person. We are raising, and we are catering to the next presidents, for all we know, the next uh, fry cook, the next whatever, for all we know. For all we know. So we have to embrace those experiences, and we have to make sure that it is a great experience. We have to make sure of that. We have to make sure of that above anything. And I say this with everything in me, and I mean it. If I offend you, I mean to. If you are in an education, if you are in education and you are a teacher, if your heart isn't in it, get out of it. If your heart isn't in it, get out of it. Why? Especially in early childhood. Why do I say that? Because the way that child feels about coming to a child care center will most likely will tell you how they're going to feel about going to school. So you have to make sure that they enjoy that experience. Make sure that they enjoy that experience. Make sure it's the best experience that they want. They want to get up and see Mr. Carr. They want to get up and see Miss Hodge. They want to get up and see Miss Reeves. They want to go to that building. Why? Because they enjoy what has been given to them. We have to make that teaching is an art. There's an art to teaching. Why? Because there's so many things that you have to do. There's so many colors and shapes and things that you have to do to make a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
Teaching is an art, and you have to be willing to endure the ups and downs on it. You're absolutely correct. You won't be compensated the way you should be. You won't. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. It is the truth. It's the unfortunate truth. You won't be compensated the way you should be. But when your heart is in it, when your heart is in it and you keep God first, you will never go lacking. Why? Because you are doing something that is beneficiary far past money. Far past money. You're absolutely correct. We're going to go ahead and end for tonight. I thank you once again for being our special guest tonight. You all, that you all please share this live. Great information, great time. Once again, this is my mom. This is my inspiration. This is my backbone. When you say Mr. Clark is so good with kids, where you get it from? You're looking at it. You're looking at it, the diva herself. Thank you all. Thank you all so much. Please like, share, and comment on this live. Go back and listen to it. Go back and listen to it. I do it myself. Go back and listen to it and comment. I see it all. I try not to comment on it because I have to comment to everyone. I don't want to make anyone feel bad, but I will comment on it. Please share it. Please continue to stay with me as my business grows. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And I'll see you next Monday at 7 o'clock. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.